chicken. I'm your guy.
Blinking.
I'll have what Joseph's has.
Look, somebody's talking about you.
This is what we call the voice of God.
Popping.
Everybody just gets to focus on you.
Grab me.
Probably not the best thing for an introvert.
I'm asking for you.
Well, I like a good chicken sandwich.
Touch me. Hi, David. Comment.
Oh my God.
Like.
You're actually an identical twin.
Push.
Maybe I'll just ask Julie to talk about what it is to be
No.
an identical twin.
Pick me up.
No, you didn't.
Shouting.
Surprise! Jeremiah, just hang on a second. I just got a text.
There's an edit for your new opening, Joseph.
I feel really honored to have been here, man.
By the way, you've done a masterful job. Seriously.
It was such a joy.
Thanks, Joseph. It's an honor.
Good on you. This was a pleasure.
I mean, you are the prime example of how to pivot in this new environment.
I wish everybody gets an opportunity to interact with Joseph Jaffe and Corona TV.
Who needs Cameo when I've got my own personal Cameo? Well, welcome everybody. It is another day in paradise, in quarantining, sheltering in place, shelter storage, whatever you want to call it. But it is a good day because it is a day that I get to be truly or figuratively naked in front of you, as you can see behind me, and talk to one of the real experts that powers this entire beautiful video, internet-enabled video YouTube ecosystem, Nate Woodbury, and you're going to hear about him and see him shortly. But before I do that, yesterday I mentioned that the panel picker voting is open, and for those of you that are going to South by Southwest or thinking about going to South by Southwest, if you would consider voting for my panel, that'd be awesome, because the panel is about how I reinvented myself during a global pandemic, and you can too. And it's an opportunity for me to actually share with you how incredibly inept and incompetent I am, how I'm making it up as I go along, but also to talk about some of the successes, some of the surprises, and how I've been inspired by my guests on literally a weekly and daily basis. Today is Veterans Day. And you know, it's an appropriate national holiday or national celebration. It is a day, a federal holiday that honors all those who have served this country in war or peace, dead or alive. And we thank them and their families for their service, and we honor them for their sacrifice. It's also a day that I get to honor Nate Woodbury and celebrate all the work that he does behind the scenes for people that are truly setting this entire landscape on fire. Nate is an expert that helps the experts in terms of understanding how to grow, how to evolve, and ultimately how to monetize their YouTube presence and channels. He is our Hump Day guest. Tomorrow we've got Kevin Ryan, and then finally Mr. Scrappy Nick Westergaard on Friday. Let's do birthdays very quickly. Mr. Matt Wassiloff, happy birthday to you, my friend. Jenny Fuchs, Michelle Blend, Lee Caney, a whole bunch of my Westport neighbors. Hope you guys are having a great day. Crystal Jaffe, no relation for some reason. Stephen Pretorius, John Gerzimer, and Mr. Jeffrey Hazlett, the ex-chief marketing officer of Kodak and the current founder of the C-Suite Network. And I'm very pleased to say that I am experimenting and testing out the C-Suite Network, C-Suite TV, C-Suite Radio for myself, and trying to get a sense as to whether this is a good place, a good home, temporary, permanent, etc., to be able to share with the marketing community. My good friend Grant Kurland, aka Nell, is watching on LinkedIn. He says, "Am I the only viewer?" Well, you might be on LinkedIn, and you might not be, because there are people watching on Periscope, on YouTube, on Facebook, and on LinkedIn. But the joy and the beauty of this channel is you have a benefit and a power of a live viewer. So, for example, you can comment, and now you're on the screen. And then there's also the long tail. And as I'm sure you'll hear from Nate later, the power of search engine optimization, the replacement of hashtags or keywords, or really understanding how to create evergreen content. And a little hat tip to him, he'll know exactly what I'm talking about, being able to understand the tree analogy, as I've been learning today. Leaves, branches, and trunks. That is my new mantra. I think I might have to get a tattoo of a tree on me now if all of that pays off. And I have a feeling that it will pay off. Mr. Tom Morris is here. He said, YouTube is as big a mystery to me as quantum theory. So I'm eager to learn more. Well, I'm pretty sure that that YouTube is much more complicated and complex than quantum theory. But don't worry, you're in good hands today. And Steve is saying, am I going to South by Southwest virtually? Well, I'm applying to lead a panel. So yes, I guess I am going virtually to South by Southwest. Well, now it's time to get into our seated soliloquy. And as always, the seated soliloquy is somehow connected to my guest. Well, you know, appropriately so, today's seated soliloquy is called Internet Famous. And, you know, again, it is inspired by my guest today. Fame, ain't it a bitch? Well, that's the catchphrase from the E! Show Mysteries and Scandals, hosted by AJ Benza, and it later became the title of his autobiography. Fame and fortune are about as much a part of the American dream as the prototypical white picket fence, blue jeans, or apple pie. Back in the day, so pre-YouTube, celebrity was reserved for an elite few. The barriers to entry for newcomers were so high that it took a massive amount of good fortune, okay, luck, to make it big. Then came the internets, and with it, an obliteration of those barriers. Enter the Weblebrity and the ability to become internet famous. Enter viral marketing and the ability to go viral. Enter a complete democratization of content creation and content creators. Surely the new generation would wipe out the old school in just the click of a mouse. Not so fast, Kowalski. While anyone can start a show or channel, making it big is a whole other story. Since COVID hit, everyone is now an on-screen wannabe. There's been a run on web cameras and microphones. I know I had to pay top dollar for my Logitech, and thankfully my Blue Yeti X microphone did not require me selling an organ. Then there's the whole virtual studio setup, including, but not limited to, lighting, and as you can see, I still don't know what the hell I'm doing, green screen, teleprompters, camera switching, and hotkeys, to name a few. But it strikes me that this is just the tip of the iceberg. And there truly is an art and a skill that props up an additional pillar that I don't think gets spoken about it as much. The back office magic that houses production, content, keyword, search strategy, and more importantly, the actual structure or construction of what makes a good video great. It's clear to me that success in a digital, social, and mobile world isn't like spinning a roulette wheel. It's clear that I have a lot to learn, and I need to put in my full 10,000 hours in order to level up. It dawns on me that I'm still at the beginning of the journey. It's a daunting one, and I have the drive, though, the determination, the gumption, the stamina, and the staying power. All I need now is a Sherpa. And I think maybe I found that Sherpa. I think maybe I found my guide to lead me into the promised land. And that guide is Nate Woodbury. Nate Woodbury is the producer for 12 YouTube channels that are lead generation machines for expert entrepreneurs, speakers, coaches, and course creators. His largest channel generates over $1 million per month. That's $1 million per month, all from organic YouTube traffic. As a speaker and consultant, he loves pulling back the curtains to show all the steps he's taken so others can do the same. That's kind of what I'm going to be doing at South by Southwest. So if you want to build a massive following of people who love you, who trust you, who want to hire you, Nate is dedicated to helping you. And I'm sure he's going to share a bunch of tips, secrets today. So let's bring him onto the show. Welcome, Nate.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited to share all the secrets.
I'm completely intimidated having you on the show because you could probably point out everything that I'm doing wrong and I suppose right as well. But that's the fun part.
Well, this is a lot of fun, and doing live stream and using the new technologies that come out. You're doing a great job, better than I figured out with the live streaming. But I'm happy to share what I can about the great things we're doing on the YouTube side of things.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, YouTube has totally, as I said in my soliloquy, YouTube has completely changed and democratized content creation, but making it on YouTube and really like standing the test of time, that clearly is a learning curve second to none. And I know we're going to talk about that shortly, about even your approach to building your business, because it applies on a meta level, I suppose. Right, which is you're helping people build their business, but you're also building your business from a B2B standpoint, using thought leadership, giving away, opening up the kimono, as it were. But before we do that, I always like to get to know my guests, and here's just a little known fact about you. Right, I mean, I'm sure there are many facts that people know about you, but here's one. It's just a small one, which is you broke your clavicle mountain biking. So now we find out that Nate Woodbury is a mountain biker. So tell us a little bit about why mountain biking. How did you break your clavicle? But within context of COVID, how important has it been to get outside and to mountain bike during these tough, challenging times?
Yeah, I really love mountain biking, really enjoy it. That's just kind of the sport that I grabbed onto back in my high school years. And there's so many great trails here in Utah. And I've ridden the same mountain bike until the summer of 2019. It's been between 20 and 25 years riding the same bike. And I was buying bikes for my kids, hoping to enter them to the mountain biking, and the salesman, I was bragging, saying, yeah, I've been riding my same bike for 20 years, just kept it up and maintained it. And he says, that bike over there, you ought to go give that one a test ride just around the parking lot. It's on sale right now. And I'm like, all right, I might as well, can't hurt. Well, I ended up buying it. So now a year later, this past summer, I had been getting really used to this new bike, full suspension, dropper post that raises and lowers when I need it to. And I've never been a crazy downhiller. I compete on the uphill and like to be fit, but I've been, this year I was increasing my speeds and I was just cruising around a corner, kind of a big wide turn berm, and going really fast. There was a rock in the middle of the trail, and I should have just gone over it, but I last minute kind of decided to turn my wheel upwards. Well, the tire lost traction and I smacked down on the ground. And so I snapped my clavicle and cracked a few ribs. And now I've got a titanium plate holding my clavicle together there. And I'm back to normal. I can use my left arm. It was kind of out of commission for a couple months there. But I'm back mountain biking. And now we've got winter here. So I'm excited because we just invested in a Peloton bike and a Peloton treadmill, which I did that as my workout this morning. And as much as I bike, the Peloton bike part of the workout I did today, it totally whipped me.
I haven't gone, I haven't ordered the Peloton yet, but I mean, it's just been incredible to see how these guys have just swept the nation, I guess swept the world during a time when, I mean, forget about Logitech cameras and Blue Yeti X mics. I think the Peloton, you might be selling an organ in order to get a Peloton. But I mean, you obviously spend a lot of time in studio, in front of a camera, behind a camera. How important is it to stay physically active in order to stay mentally, sharp and also mentally healthy?
That I think that's a struggle for everybody. The big thing for me is sleep, and I think that my fitness helps me get better quality sleep. So that's probably how that translates, is when I get a good night's sleep, I can be my focus ability. My length of time I can focus throughout the day really is dependent upon the quality of sleep I get. And fitness seems to allow me to sleep less but have better quality. So instead of needing 7 or 8 hours, I get 6 hours of really, really good sleep, and I wake up and I'm refreshed.
I actually hadn't thought about that, but my sleep has been just awful during this time. I barely make it beyond 6 a.m. or 6:30 in the morning, even on the weekends. And sleep is just interrupted. It's filled with weird dreams that I can't quite. I should probably start a YouTube channel where I just tell people about my dreams. That's sure to like shock them. But thank you for sharing that. Obviously your focus and your world is YouTube, and being able to help, as I was saying earlier, people create, establish, build, grow, and monetize their channel. It strikes me that as I said in my soliloquy, it's never been as easy as it is now to produce content and video, but it's maybe never been as hard to actually grow it and become successful. Would you say that is a true statement?
Well, yeah, I didn't jump onto the YouTube train, until many years. 2005, 2007, somewhere in that range is when a lot of people started jumping onto YouTube, and people that started back then, they were able to build a massive following really quickly. Just by creating content, you'd get a following. Today, you can still build a massive following. We're starting brand new channels all the time. I take on new clients. Had a client just starting this year, the January of this year, and her channel just passed 100,000 subscribers. It's wildly profitable. Maybe I could share details later. It takes work, really takes focus, and you need to have a strategy that I teach and that successful with. It really works that want to influence the world. The purpose of their channel is primarily to educate and to use your wisdom, your knowledge to impart that to others. And we leverage YouTube. YouTube is a great place, because it's got an amazing search engine. Plus, if you know how the algorithm works, you know how to get YouTube to promote you and get, go from tens to hundreds to thousands to millions of views. So it's hard work today, but it's totally worth it. I don't think that any other platform, any other social platform can even match what's possible for building a following of influence like you can on YouTube.
Let's talk about that for a second, because it strikes me that video. So I'll take a step back. When I started blogging and podcasting and writing back in 2005, video was just considered to be elusive. It was too difficult. The barriers to entry there were too high. Everything from download and upload speeds and storage and editing. Forget about editing. That was so difficult to do. Here we are today, and with StreamYard, it's pretty much plug and play. So back then, video was unattainable. Now, video seems to have been completely democratized. And yet, here we are almost recognizing that video has become a little bit of a stepchild. At least longer form video, because we live in a TikTok-enabled world where everything is under 60 seconds and bite size. And we also live in a world where audio has made this huge comeback. The Joe Rogans, the Mark Marons, the Tim Ferrisses of the world. So theater of the mind and these short ADD type of pieces of vignettes seem to have elevated themselves. Has video fallen back, or is it just a perception relative to these two other, forms of expression?
Each platform has a different standard. And so if we take a look at TikTok, that's obviously really popular within a certain demographic and age range. And they have their standard. But if you contrast that with Netflix is obviously doing extremely well, and they've got really long form content. When people go to one platform, they're expecting to have that type of experience. So if they go to TikTok, they're not expecting for long videos. But if they go to Netflix, imagine there being a 1-minute video there. That's just like, what? I don't want to watch that. I'm on Netflix. I'm ready to relax, get out some popcorn, right? And so, YouTube has its own, criteria. And sometimes there are shorter videos, but kind of the average length in my experience is in the 10 to 12, 13-minute range. And those videos do really well. But you find the whole mix. And so as far as like as a medium, comparing video to just audio, or obviously any other type of media content or written, you can do a lot more with video. Not only do they hear your voice, but I mean, right now we can make eye contact. We can look into each other's eyes. We can hear the tone of voice, but we can see facial expression. We can see hand gestures if I put my hands up on the screen. And we can show other things, or I could put music in the background. And so there's just more senses that we're using with video. So video itself is never going to die. But there's advantages to audio. If I'm mountain biking, I can't watch a video. So I'm going to be listening to a podcast or an audiobook, different places. The other thing that we could transition into for video, why so biased towards YouTube compared to TikTok or to, video on other social platforms. Maybe we could go.
So I'm noticing, by the way, speaking of video and streaming, that one of our connections is probably giving a little bit of difficulty. So if you are watching right now, please just let me know in the comments if everything is coming through clear. And if any of us are choppy, and if it turns out that the only person who is suffering right now is myself, in terms of not hearing the pearls of wisdom from Nate, well then, too bad for me, but good for you guys. So do let us know if there's any issues from a quality standpoint. But Nate, one of the things that you actually spoke about was this idea of a YouTube experience. And I like that because, one of the first and most important things from a strategic standpoint is to always define what the role is. What is the role for Instagram? What is the role for YouTube? What is the role for Snapchat? So often brands struggle with respect to being we need to be on Snapchat. Why? We don't know, but just everybody is. So let's go on Snapchat. And you talk about this YouTube experience. First of all, you gave us a sense as to minutes, right? That's kind of like an 8 to 12 minute, that there's almost a sweet spot in terms of time. What else makes a YouTube experience unique to video and to YouTube?
Well, let me just contrast it with email, and this will teach another principle. So if I put out a new video on YouTube, and let's say I've got an email list that I want to use to promote it, there's a right way and a wrong way to do that. If I were to just make it black and white, there's gray area too. But if I were to send out an email to my list and say, hey, I just posted a new video to YouTube, go check it out. That's not the most effective email, because people are expecting to have an email experience, which is typically written, right? So a better way for me to send an email like that would be take the content from the YouTube video and write an article, write a few paragraphs that teach. And if they don't click the link to go to YouTube, the email itself is valuable. And then at the end, I can say, and this content, I go into more depth on my YouTube video. Here's the link if you check it out. So talking about, that's the email experience. People, their email, they're going to kind of browse through a few things and go through all their emails, kind of get through that. And there's opportunity if they want to switch and go YouTube experience. They know that they're setting their email aside. Now they're going to you planning, sitting down and watching a minute episode or watching a few, depending on the time. So it's like, now I'm going to sit still and I'm going to watch and I'm going to give visual to this video on YouTube. And it's not very social compared to Facebook or to LinkedIn or other more social platforms, because YouTube, we don't really interact with each other. We're interacting specifically with content compared to, on if somebody posts a video or anything, a photo or on Facebook, we'll comment and we'll look at other people's comments, and we're more interactive, and we can reply and we can share things. So anyway, every platform has a unique experience.
I love that idea because it's something so simple. Every week I put out an email. My Jaffe Juice email goes out and focuses on Corona TV. And what I do is for example, I'll do it next week. I'll summarize this interview and I'll provide a link to the interview. I'll provide a link to the Corona Bite, which is a 1-minute highlight of this episode. And then I'll put in like 4 bullets that will actually talk about my observations or what I liked, what I didn't like. Well, I like everything. But I think what you're saying is that's great. Provide the link for people to go and watch the YouTube, the actual YouTube show, but give them enough value in the email, in the written word, so that their time was respected and well spent. And even if they don't click on the link, they will have benefited from the show. And I think that's what you were saying, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I can also take it a step further because we're in this world of repurposing, and people like Gary Vaynerchuk, who have big profiles everywhere, and they'll talk about, hey, if you're going to make a video and go through all the effort of making a video, why don't you take that audio and make it into a podcast? Why don't you take clips of it and put it on Facebook or Snapchat, Instagram? Why don't you make an infographic out of it? And there's strength to that. I love efficiency, and you might as well get the most bang for your buck. But here's the disadvantage to that. If I know the YouTube strategy and I create a piece of content that works best for YouTube, it's the right length, I introduce it in the right way, I do the analytics, I did the keyword research right for this video, and I make it specifically know how to get results on YouTube. If I then take that video and post it on LinkedIn, expecting that it's going to get great results on LinkedIn, it whole on a whole different piece. Videos can do well there, but you got a maximum of 10 minutes. And if you just post videos and that's all you do, well on LinkedIn. So you can repurpose content. The struggle is, let's have certain of I can do this work each day. I put 50% of them or whatever percent YouTube, and then I'm putting the other 50% of it trying to repurpose it for many other platforms. I'm not going to get as good a result as if I would just that entire time make everything right on YouTube. So, and it doesn't have to be YouTube. Maybe Facebook is the platform focusing on, but learn the exact formula, the exact ingredients you need to get the results that you want, and go in 100% on that one platform. Even Gary Vee gets burned out. He's not daily on YouTube anymore. He hasn't been for over a year. And he's got a big team behind him. If you look at big influencers that have big followings on multiple platforms, if you go back in time, you'll figure out that they actually got big on one platform first, and then when they kind of had the momentum going on to take a step back and start a second one. No one that I've seen that's followed the Gary Vee advice of, hey, you just got to be everywhere, and people that start everywhere, they're not focused enough on one place to actually be successful.
Yeah, I'm kind of sighing as I listen to you, because as I said, it's almost like I'm self-reporting here and going big red circles everywhere. But in all sincerity, that's been the idea. It's almost been the spaghetti approach, throwing stuff against the wall and trying to figure out what sticks and where it sticks. When LinkedIn, when YouTube, how Facebook. Do I need a website? I mean, to me, it's joyous because you get to just keep on experimenting until something takes off. But I think the takeaway I get from you today is keep on doing that. And when you find that one platform, maybe there's a way to then kind of double down and focus everything on that platform as your platform du jour. So I guess just a follow-up question for you is it obvious what that platform should be, or is it more of the trial and error until you find that platform and then you focus everything on that specific platform with its role, its nuances, its characteristics, its behaviors, etc.
There are differences. So you do need to who are and what you want and look at platforms they're using. So obviously I can talk a lot to YouTube, and the main audience that I speak to for my strategy, people who there's this Disney Hawaii Hawaii's inside. She's responsibility. Her dad says you need to stay right here. This is where you're needed. Got this calling, this drive to go out on the, and it's just a fictional fun story, but it resonates because I've got passion and this purpose. I've just got this feeling inside that I feel like I've got to make the world of like entrepreneurship, and I've got influence. And in doing that, that's the audience that I speak to, those who have that same drive. And if you drive, you have expertise, whether you've worked or you're like, man, I want to get into public speaking, or you want to coach, you've got to come in, or you've created a course. Okay, YouTube is an amazing platform. In fact, it's like it being any better, and here's why. Okay, first of all, YouTube has a search engine. Okay, we use it all the time, and so it sound very novel or profound, but think right now, there are people around the world for you. Okay, technically, they're actually just searching for what you're good at, what your expertise is, and they don't know that you exist. So they're searching for you, but they don't know that you exist. And YouTube fixes that. YouTube search engine makes it so we can make a video that answers their questions. They find you and they see you as their hero. It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. You have to know what their questions are. You have to know how are they phrasing it? How are they typing in their questions? And how can I make it so that they find me instead of all the other billions of minutes of content that's being uploaded to YouTube? How can they find me? Because they're searching for me. I know the best answer. I'm the best one to answer this question. And so that's what I teach. And I teach how to record a video today to YouTube tonight, rank on YouTube tonight. Like, people will start finding you if you use strategy correctly. The other big advantage to YouTube is they promote you. Okay, there's a few ways to talk about this. It will suggest content, or I talk about it in terms of their partner program. Let me go that direction. Okay, YouTube's partner program beginning. How do you make money? Advertisers pay YouTube money. The partner programs that they get 55% money because I'm the videos. 50%. So the revenue the advertisers pay, I get 55% of that. How that works? Put YouTube go ad, and I get 55% of that spend. Now that ad revenue isn't actually in focus. It's actually a percentage. It's significant, I figure, but it's all percentage of
Nate,
that I generate. Yes.
So I'm going to first of all, I've been looking at the comments, and it seems like the audio is just not cooperating. And so I think what we got to do is do a little bit of the live improvisation, because the stuff is so valuable that you're talking about, and I love it so much. I've learned so much even just from doing the research for the show. So I propose, and we'll do a bit of a live reschedule on air, because this is the world we live in. This is the world of streaming in the age and the era of COVID. We can move over to Zoom, and we can continue there on Zoom, and I can record that and stitch it together, or we can just reschedule into December. Whatever you want to do, because at the end of the day, you're my guest, and I want you to be comfortable.
Well, sure. Well, let's go ahead and try Zoom. If we've got roulette in that, but if issues are causing it, that doesn't work either.
Yeah,
And
well, it's
then
very
we can-
weird. And all right, well, for those of you that just want to switch over to Zoom, we're going to do that. We'll go to bit.ly/Corona TV after show, and we'll continue there. And if that doesn't work for whatever reason, if Nate has some time, hopefully he'll come back and we'll do another show. I'll do for you, Nate. I'll do 2 shows in one day. I'll do it on the weekend. It'll be like a cell phone plan, nights and weekends, whatever works for you. But yeah, so we're gonna call it and move over to Zoom. So come join us there. bit.ly/Corona TV after show. I will play the outro, and we'll see you there shortly. So see you guys soon.
Thank you for watching Corona TV with your host, multiple author, and global keynote speaker, Joseph Jaffe. Corona TV is the show about hope, positivity, optimism, and if there's time left over, a little bit of marketing. The after show on Zoom starts right now at bit.ly/Corona TV after show. If you like the show, tell a friend or two. Please subscribe to the show at CoronaTV.show. And if you want to get inside news, previews of upcoming guests, and much more, text Corona TV to 66866 or visit josephjaffe.com/subscribe to sign up for the show's newsletter.
And despite the best ministrations of your wife, you still look ugly.